It's a wet qualifying, as you can see, and I am joined by F1 Maestro.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ILR, and after a cracker last weekend of mixed conditions French Grand Prix, we appear to have yet more rain here around Austria, and I'm on board with John MH, who has already damaged his front wing at turn 2 on the outlap, so pretty chaotic start here to Austria. We don't know if it's going to be wet in the race, but we definitely have some inter conditions here for the start of quali.
Yeah, we can tell Pelzeri's already left the session. That's not great to see. Hope he can get back in anytime soon. But I think, judging by the fact that people have gone out, they're either one, getting some practice, or two, the rain's not going to get any better, and it might get worse by the time the session's finished. And yeah, heavy rain is still the least preferable condition, even compared to light rain. You'll probably gain, even around Austria, which is a relatively short track, you'll still gain around 4 or 5 seconds compared to light and heavy rain. So these could be the best conditions that we see.
Yeah, potentially. The rain is reasonably heavy, but obviously not enough to warrant the full wets. I'm on board with Midsi and the Williams, who's the first driver to start a lap at the moment. No DRS, obviously, due to the wet weather conditions. Midsi did turn 2 reasonably carefully. He's got all over the curve at turn 3 there, maybe a minor corner cut. Decent drive on the exit, so seemingly providing decent grip for the time being, at least in terms of traction. And the grip through the high-speed corner didn't look so great there, but we have to consider if the race is dry, some drivers may have decided to gear their setup more towards the race instead of qualifying, so may sacrifice some qualifying pace in the rain here for a dry race. Obviously we can only speculate because we don't know what the weather's going to be like in the race as Midsi comes to the line. It'll be the first time on the board a 14.4, and that is the benchmark for the rest of the drivers to beat Mike Marshmallow. Immediately beats it by half a second there, so yeah. Maybe Mike more hooked up in the rain, wanting to continue his good form after, I think he won't mind me saying, a surprise win last week in France, and Smasher goes second, only a tenth off as more times start to pile in.
Yeah, that was a great recovery from Mike last week, and you can really see that the track just hasn't really rubbed it in as much as it could do yet. Loads of people getting more oversteer, I've noticed, than understeer, particularly out of the long sweeping sector 2. Saw Smasher get a big bit coming into what is the start of sector 3. I just saw Antsman get the big bit of oversteer coming out of the right-hand hairpin at the end of the third DRS zone, the 3 DRS zone, which is probably why we saw the last 2 Austrian Grand Prix, at least in real life, have been absolute thrillers. Probably the biggest result of that third DRS zone that was added in 2018. Whereas 2017 it was quite a ball fest, I will be honest. But yeah, so just depends on how quickly that line is going to dry, or if it even dries in the first place. I mean, it's quite a short track. We've got 17 drivers, so it should do.
Yeah, quite a busy one in terms of finding track position in qualifying. Not as bad as Monaco, obviously, but in terms of time, it's the shortest circuit on the calendar, and the dry is probably 1 minute forwards, so lots of cars close together. Could see some getting a bit hectic, especially at the end of the session, as Pelzeri has now joined back in. But I was watching Mr. Pigeon Munch's lap. He's gone third, just 200ths behind Mike, with Danny going top. So the early benchmark has been set by those 3 guys, but it's all very close because you've got Jork, Smasher and Midzi all on 14.0s, not far behind. So people will probably, because of the inter conditions, do a few laps back to back just to become acclimatised with the circuit or whatever, as Mr. Pigeon Munch has run very wide in the penultimate corner there. But yeah, not much to say at the moment really. It's just whether the conditions will get worse, because if they do, then we're in for a very boring last 12 minutes of qualifying. But they look to be reasonably similar to what they were at the start of the session, so I reckon drivers should still have a chance to improve for the moment at least. As Mike goes fastest.
Talking of traffic, that is a great time. I don't think he improved by, must have just improved by a tenth or 2, because I'm pretty sure he was in the 13s beforehand. So it's an improvement, even though it's only slightly, but it's probably the most major improvement you can have with puts you on pole position. Going back to the topic of traffic, it's the shortest track in terms of time of the year, so you're probably going to see a lot of traffic. But it is quite a wide track, Austria, so they do have a lot of room to get out of the way. It's not quite as wide as Malaysia, which at some points is 20 metres wide, which is insanity. It's so wide. But I think there's not really much of an excuse for blocking around here, particularly given the amount of straight there is.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. As Danny has picked his teammate Mike, so just like last week, it's looking like a battle for pole between the two Mercedes drivers. But one point where you can potentially block someone is when you're coming into the pits, because the pit entry is quite slow, and drivers will be trying to sweep around the penultimate corner, and that can sometimes catch drivers unaware, and there could be a collision. I was, whilst you were talking, I had a look at LCR Mulder, who's currently down in 15th with a time of some 13 seconds off the pace, and he's really struggling. He spun it again at the penultimate corner and broke his wing, so he came into the pits. Mulder, obviously, despite only picking up 1 point last week, is definitely one of the quickest guys here, and I'd argue a championship contender along with the likes of Jork, Danny, and Nathan Aitken, who's not here this week for whatever reason. So Mulder will be looking to improve on his 126.9 and hopefully mix it in with the guys like Danny and Jork on the high 13s or very low 14s.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through different people now, and I think the track is starting to get a bit dry. The Inter's starting to struggle a bit more because it is only light rain, so if it does stop, it will get dry relatively quickly. That line is almost half dry already as a result of all the cars going over it. Ozzy O'Haley goes into P8, so that's a good lap from him. I still don't think everybody's really got to grips. I think Midzi goes P6. Oh no, that is somebody else improved.
Antsmas went P7.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. Hayden is here this week. He missed it last week in France. I think he may be the only driver who hasn't scored a point, full-time driver that is, so far this season, because B.R. Hamilton somehow managed to pull it out of the bag and finish third last week. So I think that leaves Hayden alone in the no points club, but he'll be looking to get off the mark this week as he's had a lot of oversteer on the exit of turn. We're calling it turn 3 because the little kink doesn't count, and now he's spun it through turn 5. So I think this lap's over for Hayden. That would be an understatement, but yeah, Hayden will be hoping to have a better race than he did 2 weeks ago in Canada, where I think he was lapped and picked up a lot of corner cutting penalties.
Yeah, one of the worst tracks for corner cutting, probably the worst, but I'm surprised I haven't seen more invalidations around here, particularly on the wet, and given that Sector 3 has a lot, even though it's only 2 corners, they're very susceptible to people going wide, just because, well, the first one's blind for a start, so if it's wet you can never really, what is it to forget, even though you've been around the track hundreds of times before, probably thousands of times before, sometimes you always just seem to forget where the optimum line for that apex is. Charles Eric having a few incident issues down P17, hopefully you can get them sorted out and put in a reasonable lap time by the end of it. And I've seen quite a few people going for double laps, which you can do that in wet, because the wetter tyres, or the wet tyres, I don't know why I said wetter, but the wet tyres have a much lower rate of deg, so you can get away with multiple laps. It just depends how well the battery holds up and how much fuel you put in, but normally they also slow down with how quickly you go through it.
Pigeon Monster's now just started his 5th lap. Brumson's done 4 and actually put himself into 3rd. Brumson, who hasn't had a great time recently, or at least since I started commentating regularly. He missed last week's race, DNF'd in both Monaco and Canada. So it's been a while since he's scored points. Jork now goes 2nd, only 4 thousandths off Danny's time. Wow. Jork, who we should mention is quite ill, but racing anyway. Apparently he said he'd see how it went in qualifying, but it all appears to be going well at the moment. For him, he's up in 2nd alongside his main championship rival, and I'm not sure if he's on another lap here. Appears to be going. Oh, okay.
Crutchley, by the way, coming out on the softs. It's still raining.
Oh, smash F1! the track conditions are
so
improving
that's
dramatically.
5/10 quicker. That's a
Yeah.
mega lap. So yeah, I would have thought. I think Pigeon Munch aborted that lap, and he's coming in for a new set. I think some of these tyres, with the amount this track it's sort of half drying out, but these tyres will start to overheat a lot more as a result of the dry conditions. I'm interested to see. Yes, he is coming out on the softs, so this is going to be important. Everybody's going to be watching this to see how the softs contend with the inters at the moment.
It's too early.
I'm not too sure if it is still raining noticeably, so it's not like it's letting off. He got out of the pit lane pretty easily, not much wheel spin, he didn't get any oversteer or anything. The braking zones are really where it's going to matter. I think he's just letting somebody pass. The Alfa Romeo of the Brazilian driver, João Paulo.
Yeah, it's definitely too early at this point. But with 6 minutes left, it's not inconceivable, especially with that big time jump that Smasher made, and even Danny was over a tenth off, so that's an impressive lap. Oh no! Crutchley not really getting out of the way of, I think it was Aaron Dassler there, and he's tagged the Red Bull. But yeah, last time we raced at Austria, we had a similar situation, which was 2 seasons ago in season 4, apart from the fact on that day it was wet to inters in qualifying.
Well saved from Aaron Dassler. He went very deep going to the second left-hander in the second sector, and he went so deep I thought he was going to go in the gravel, but he managed to just sort of skid his way to a stop, understeer his way to a stop just before he was all over the curve. A big bit of oversteer, but he managed to keep on the lap. He aborted the lap quite rightly, so I don't think he was on for an improvement. There's a big block up from LCR Hayden going into what is turn 4. I'm always trying to get that right, because I always forget that kink going up into what is turn 3. I don't really know how you can classify that as a turn, but
Crutchley is starting a lap. I don't know how we're going to agree to pronounce it, but the car stopped reasonably well for turn 1, but it's just traction. But we're definitely not far away from the drive, as we've got a few more cars in the garage selecting the soft, so everyone's thinking the same way. And we thought, because you can qualify on the softs, we'd avoid a one-shot qualifying this week, but I think it could be the case that it's going to be one lap at the end on the softs to try and get a time in. As not so great on the deep for turn 4. There's a lot of oversteer. The tyres will burn out very quickly.
Even though there's a lot of oversteer, it doesn't seem that slow. That's the important thing. It seems like he's 8/10 off, so
that's not
it'll
that
be an
much.
improvement on his previous lap. So give it another couple minutes, and that might be the same time as the inters, maybe even if a bit quicker. So it just depends. Are the guys going to want to go out on a multiple laps? He's coming in. He's going to be able to stop and the sets off. There's still just under 4 minutes left.
I think that was the sensible decision.
Coming to the softs.
To come in, because if he finished the lap, I don't think he would have had time to come back in and get back out and getting on a fresh set of softs before the session ended. We've got more drivers heading out, presumably on inters. So Mr. Pigeon Munch have committed to the inter strategy, I think. John as well, and Danny, unless they come in at the end of this lap, because if they are now at a point setting a time lap, that is going to be their fastest lap. But we're looking for the all-important DRS enabled. When DRS is enabled, that's when it's time to get out there on the sticks. But everyone here has a decision to make: slicks or inters, and it could, it won't be make or break for the race, but it will be in terms of grid position, and obviously that can. There we go, DRS enabled. So
yeah, that is the crossover point. I think that comes on exactly when the softs or the dry tyres get quicker than the wet tyres.
That's how it
is.
Mr. Pigeon Munch
that is an Alfa Romeo of João Paulo out of the second in P11. I think the only benefit to him is he's going to get hit whatever tyres he starts on. I mean, that'll only really affect the dry runners in the top 10 if everybody in the top 10 sets a lap on the dry tyres.
Danny's continued on the inside.
Might even up to. Yes, he is. He's going to stick with it. He's going to stick to his guns. But he does go deep into turn 1. I think the dries are definitely quicker at this point.
Pigeon Munch
in the way.
And Jamie are the only 3 have gone for inters. Everyone else is either in the pits, as Jamie's now given up on that, or on outlaps on soft tyres, or in the case of Mike, he's on the mediums. So Danny could be looking, if everyone gets laps in, because he's not going to get round in time, at a very low qualifying position here, and people need to be getting out there. Smasher is getting out there now, because they don't have a huge amount of time to get round, and I think some people are going to miss the flag here, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I think if you come out now or start a lap now, you will still be able to get around in time, but don't forget it is only, at the moment, just over a 1 minute 10 lap in the dry. By the way, it also has to stop raining, so if you're on the dries now, this is your chance to capitalise, guys. So you'll probably see the lap times improve by around about
very
9
deep into turn
seconds
1.
Driest conditions. Go on board with Jork now. He hasn't activated DRS. I don't think he's
No, the lap's over.
Lap. He's going to... Yeah. He
but
might
he has
get back
time.
round, we don't know
he
yet.
should.
Yeah, he does have
line
time
with that
if
1
he really
minute
pushes
20.
it.
Mike, he's down on his time on the mediums, but obviously they'll take longer to warm up in comparison to the softs. Hayden's nearly a second up on his time, so through the middle sector, so he's going to be the first person to put in a representative lap on the dries as he comes through the penultimate corner now and into the final corner, taking it reasonably cautiously, but it's going to be a lap on the board from the McLaren driver, and that could be crucial. Will it be fastest? No, it was invalidated, but it was a 12.6, which would have put him first by some 6/10. And the track is now pretty much completely dry as Hayden's lost it, and that's his session over, pretty much, because he's not going to improve from the wall. I'm going to see if anyone else is up on their time. Everyone's just starting laps. And John and Maz missed the flag, as I predicted. But Jork gets another crack in it.
Crucial as well. He's only by a tenth, so I think he might have had a bit of a scrap of that if Hayden did go fast by 6/10. So
yeah, he was very deep at turn 1. He's 1.5 seconds up in sector 1. Mr. Pigeon Munch gets out the way on the intermediates, and Jork is looking in prime position here. Big oversteer. Crutchley goes fast with a 10.2. So the times are going to really start to tumble, and I think Jork was the last across the line. So we should be on board with him, although he's gone deep into turn 4. Pigeon Munch picks up a grid penalty for a collision. Mulder puts in also a 10.2, which currently puts him on pole. And we'll have to see what Jork's middle sector time is. This lap's been fairly unimpressive from my point of view. He's only 1.8 seconds up, so it is a big last sector as Mike goes third. Robinson goes second. Smashing goes fastest with a 9.4. And I think that's going to be enough from him. Midsley second with a 9.8. We're looking at a very mixed up grid here as Jork comes around the final corner. Aaron Dazzler a 9.3. Has Jork got enough? And it was invalidated. So he's right down the order. And I apologise for wasting everyone's time by watching Jork's lap. He's 8th. I think it's Aaron Dazzler on pole here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Well, a crazy end to qualifying there.
Yeah, I think that qualifying was a perfect example of whoever set their lap last would have probably been fastest as a result of how quickly that track was drying up. And I think you can see, definitely just by the look of that leaderboard, that the dry tyres were the fastest by the end, given that everybody in the top 8 was running dry tyres. And I think Mike Marshmallow might regret going out on the mediums rather than the softs. He could have been probably a bit higher given the soft tyres, which can warm up a bit quicker. But there's your top 10. I don't think I've got any time to read it out as I've been a melon and not done it early enough. But yeah, there's your top 10.
Yeah, although Pigeon Munch will drop down to 15th with whatever grid penalty he picked up. We didn't quite catch that. I mean, John didn't even make the flag, so he got a grid penalty for a collision with John's AI there. So that's a bit of a weird one. But we're here in the race. It's overcast, dry. Whether it will remain to be dry, we'll have to wait and see. But definitely dry at the start, and all the championship actually Mulder's up there, but Jork in 8th and Danny down in 9th. So they'll be fighting their way through the field. But Danny gets free choice of tyres, whereas Jork has to start on those softs, which he qualified on. So that's something we should definitely bear in mind. We'll see if Danny follows his teammate and goes for the mediums or backs himself on the softs as well. But yeah, with the grids mixed up, I think we've got another very entertaining race in store once again today.
Yeah, it also depends. Are we going to get the opposite to last race? Instead of having the wet conditions at the start, are we going to get it at the end? Because it is overcast, so I don't think that won't happen, as everybody's getting their race strategies done, which is going to be quite a lot, because we've still got quite a few people that did laps on the Inter tyres that were in the top 10. I think by the end that will be 3, because Mr. Pigeon Munch has been put down 5 places. So, just think...
Then he does go for the mediums.
He does. So let me just get everything up on the board once again. Let's see what tyres everybody's put on. Majority going for the softs because, well, tyre wear is quite low around this track for a start. I think did you say the optimum strategy was soft medium?
Yeah, I think some people, if you're very harsh on your tyres, I don't know if that would apply to anyone on this grid, might go for the safe option of soft hard, and then medium soft for obviously the people who started on mediums. But yeah, I suspect most people will go for the soft to medium. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Most of the grid having fresh softs as well should make that a pretty safe option. But Aaron Dazzler, Smash F1 and Midzi as the top 3, that's going to make for a very entertaining race. Aaron Dazzler, we know, has pace. He got a couple of podiums at the back end of the last season, and this is his first real opportunity from the front of the grid. Can he break away early on, or will people like Mulder, Blumson, Jork, Mike and Danny obviously on the mediums, will they guys be able to make their way through the field and catch up with him, as he's got quite a big gap to the rest of the field as we now come round to the end of the formation, that fast approaching the start of round 9 of this season, the Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think the Toro Rossos are gonna, the 2 LCR guys, Mulder and Blumson, the Dutch team, as their flags dictate, are going to try and work together, I would have thought, to try and get as many... Well, they haven't got many positions to make up. They're starting 4th and 5th, so they're the best qualifying out of anybody. It just depends on how well they can capitalise on that. Midzi having his best qualifying. I think everybody in the top 5 has had their best qualifying of the season, so it's their chance to shine, where everybody else who further up in the championship has started further down the field. They've got quite a good angle to start this race off as the lights are lagging, but we've got them 5 of them on, almost. And it's lights out and away we go. Everybody seems to get an even start. The Williams of Midzi tries to get up the middle of the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo is up the inside of Aaron Dazzler. Smasher F1 just in the lead, and the Midzi and the Williams is going to try and get this up to turn 3. The slipstream effect going to be mega with these huge wings on the back of these cars for this season. The Red Bull's not had a great start
contact
from first to third. That is a Ferrari onto the grass. And
no.
that's the Toro Rosso who's just gone straight up the side of him. There's a big crash. Taking the Sato style into turn 3. And that was a huge crash, loads of positions being gained, and lost Pelzeri's from P17 up into P10, so that's a fantastic start from him. The Toro Rosso defending the Mercedes in the inside line through turn 4, and I think Midzi and Smasher F1 have just swapped around, but once again the Alfa Romeo in front of the Williams and the Red Bull in P3. So was there any more incidents apart from that Ferrari going spearing through the grass of Crutchley?
Yeah, George just had a spin. He's tapped the side of, I'm not sure if it was Danny or Pelzeri, through turn 6, and he's dropped down to 16th, or make that 17th as the Ferrari goes past. Yeah, I think in turn 2 the Ferrari clipped the back of one of the Toro Rossos and did well to keep it under control and get on the brakes across the grass and avoid hitting someone. It was Debris at the ultimate corner as well. But yeah, Jork and Danny both had poor starts, and I think they may have come to contact there, because Danny's down even further than he was out after the original start. So maybe the 2 championship rivals have collided here on that one. I wasn't quite sure if it was Pelzeri or Danny, as John unfortunately retires from the session, and not a good start for him. But yeah, Aaron Dazzler has not made the most of his favourable starting position. He's been jumped by both Smasher and Midzi, who we know have pace. Smasher put in a pretty good performance in Canada a couple of weeks ago, and we know he has the pace to show once again today. As now BR Hamilton and Pigeon Munch are battling through the middle sector side by side through turn 6, wheel banging but no spins this time, and BR Hamilton makes his way through. He's made up a lot of places well off the start. He's up 5 places. Pigeon Munch up 7, Jamie up 7, Pelzeri up 6 now as Antsmaz makes his way past the Williams drivers. Pelzeri's actually pitting, so maybe it was him who had contact.
So Pelzeri, after that mega start, I think he was up 8 places, going from 17th to 9th, so it's originally a really good start. I'm not too sure where he lost his win from. I was spectating him just half a lap ago, and his win was looking very feisty, I guess. And that is Mike Marshmallow and Hamilton going side by side up into turn 3. BR Hamilton right round the outside, the Renault looking there as well. The Renault gets a mega switchback. Mike Marshmallow is really regretting picking the medium tyres at this point in the race. He's just getting swamped by everybody else running the soft tyres, but of course he has got DRS and the slipstream of the Racing Point in front of him. But the Renault goes for the inside line. That's a Daniel Ricciardo dive bomb in a Renault, and I think he's actually going to make it stick despite the massive right front lockup that he had. And Mike Marshmallow, I think quite rightly, doesn't want to risk any damage, gives up the position to Mr. Pigeon Munch. That's a great move, albeit a risky move from Mr. Pigeon Munch, but respect all the same. Great to watch.
Yeah, very opportunistic, but he knows he has the tyre advantage, and he's made that done. As Mitzi picks up a penalty early doors. Once again, he's made a habit of that. I remember him doing it in Spain as well. And that will not help his hopes at a podium or even a race win today, because Mulder hasn't made the progress.
Oh, he spun! Oh, that was well saved. He's lost, probably down, going to go down now, maybe into P5. I think he tried to go up the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and he just got a bit of a tag on his left front tyre, and he almost got sent around straight into the wall. But nevertheless, it was well saved. He's now ghosting into the Toro Rosso in front of LCR Bronson. Hopefully he can get that sorted out. He's got DRS, but the Toro Rosso DRS behind him as well. He's going to have to go around the outside of turn 4, but meant to squeeze him right over to the outside, and that was aggressive but fair.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch the spin, but obviously that's cost Mitzi a couple of places, as BR Hamilton also picked up a penalty in that. But yeah, if he's done well to keep it out of the wall, he'll be happy to still be in 4th, but he's now in this battling pack, whereas before he could sort of drive by himself up in 2nd. But I'm not sure if either Toro Rosso's got damage from that one, as Mulder's had a big moment through the corner. He's also managed to save it, but he's now dropped back over a 2nd behind Mitzi. But I'm not sure if either the Toro Rossos had damage from when the Ferrari cut across turn 3 on the first lap, because one of the Toro Rossos T-boned him, but maybe he ghosted, I'm not sure. The game's not particularly good at showing an accurate replay camera. And in terms of Peltieri, I think it must have been him who had contact with Jork, potentially, and that's and not Danny, and that's how he got the damage. But both him and Gianpaolo came into the pits on the 2nd lap, as Antomas now moves up tonight. But Jamie's got a good cutback on the Racing Point under DRS here, but Antomas without DRS has superior straight line speed, so that's a bit of a surprise, and the Racing Point maintains position 9 despite Jamie having the favourable exit and the DRS. So Jamie may be running slightly higher wings for this one, because I don't see how he drops so far back from the Racing Point there. But Antomas up to 9th here on lap number 5.
Jamie OC, also one of the ones having a great start. He's up 6. Mr. Pigeon Munch, both the Renaults in fact having brilliant starts. Jamie up 6, Mr. Pigeon up 8 spots, and I don't think count anybody out of the top 7 out at the moment. I think everybody below P8, Mike Marshmallow, doesn't seem to have any pace on those mediums at the moment. Still just seem a bit hesitant to work for him, but Danny M7 also not having a brilliant race either down P11. He's just on the brink of some points, but he's going to want to improve on that later on. What tyre is he on? He is also on the medium, so the medium tyre is definitely not looking very quick at the moment. The soft runner is running away with it. Everybody above from Mr. Pigmont and above. I don't think any moves when we attempted here, or Aaron Dazzler very close to smash the sand in P1. He's got a different threat than he had a couple laps before with the Williams of Midfield. Aaron Dazzler really all over the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo having a lot of speed in the middle sector, was able to get away from any, not DRS threat, but he's able to get away from a diving threat from the Red Bull, which is really what he needs at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dazzler's got his head back up. He didn't let the bad start affect him. Midsy's been removed from his path through the half spin, and now Dazzler's looking to get back into position 1 where he started this race, as Jamie picked up a time penalty. Mulder picked one up a lap ago as well, so that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, you mentioned the softs not working very well, and Mike is dropping back very quickly from the back of Pigeon Munch's. Dazzler not close enough this time, but it will come back to them because they'll be quicker when the medium's not working very well. I think I said softs. They'll be quicker when the soft tyres run out, and then they'll get the softs on the lower fuel at the end of the race, and they'll be able to make a charge for the field. So although it's not looking great, No, not this time.
Thought
But
he was going to go for a dive.
yeah, it's only a matter of laps away. But although it doesn't look great for Mike and Danny down in 8th and 11th at the moment, I think they need to play the long game here, play the waiting game, and know that the race will come to them as the laps come on. There's still 29 laps left after this one, so plenty of time for them to get stuff done. And Smasher feeling the need to break the toe in the run down to turn 9. Does the 4/10 back? Could this be the lap where he makes the move as BR Hamilton picks up his second penalty of the race? So despite having the pace this week once again up in P6 after his podium last week, the penalties could be going to cost him as Dazzler gets pretty close into turn 1, but Smasher appears to have a better exit. The gap's 3/10 as they head up to turn 2. Dazzler using overtake mode on the ERS, and he's going to go for it. Smasher goes to the inside. Dazzler takes the racing line into the corner. Smasher slightly later on the brakes. Dazzler's going to have to leave in the room, but Dazzler should get the better exit with the outside line. Smasher on the DRS though. He's going to try and pull it back into the braking zone for turn number 4. Will he be opportunistic on the brakes? Indeed, he is back at the inside of the Red Bull, and he's been very aggressive there. And Dazzler wants to continue the fight through turn 4, but he's going to have to back out of that one, I think. Smasher pretty aggressive with his move, but I think aggressive but fair, and he maintains his lead for now as Bromston
Auto's up the inside.
having a look as well.
What was into turn 7? Yes, turn 7.
All very hectic.
So,
top 7 all within a second of the car ahead as Mulder goes for a move on Midsley side by side through the penultimate corner, and now the final corner. Mulder's bounced over that curb and forced them both off, and Midsley's had a spin and he's out of the race. He didn't hit the wall particularly hard, but his front right tyres come off, and we have a virtual safety car. Not a full safety car like last week, but a virtual safety car. I think it's too early for people to decide to come in the pits, but no, Crutchley's in and Jork is also in, so a couple of people further down the order making the decision. Crutchley picks up a penalty for speeding. Jork will not. But yeah, I think Midsey was quite aggressive there. He didn't give Mulder much space on the apex, and as a result Mulder bounced over the curb. And unfortunate for the Williams driver, unfortunately he was having a reasonably good race, but he's now out, and Mulder's dropped down to 6th as well. But yeah, it all got pretty crazy for a lap or so there.
Yeah, I think that curve on the last corner is quite similar to the curve you get in Monza. If you go over it with one of your tyres, you'll be completely fine. In fact, you'll actually take a fast line and you'll go wide. But if you hit it right in the centre of the car, right on the nose cone, the front of the car will bounce up and you'll just lose every bit of steering input that you have. But the green flag is now enabled again. Smasher goes straight to the defensive on the inside into turn 9. Manages to defend from the Rebel once again. This has also given him a chance, I've noticed, to recharge his battery, as his battery was almost non-existent compared to the Rebel behind. The Rebel behind almost 100% battery, whereas Smasher beforehand was only below 10%, so he's really got to eliminate that threat behind him as best he can. He is quicker in the corners compared to the Rebel, so he's going to have to use that to his advantage. And he's got DRS, he's using the overtake mode, he's not got that much of a chance up into turn 3, and I don't think he's going to dive back up the inside. I thought he wasn't, but I was been proved wrong. But the Red Bull manages to prove me wrong again and stays ahead of the Alfa, hugs the inside line into turn 4. The Alfa Romeo going to have to go around the outside, but I think the Red Bull at this point is going to be able to close the door. Yeah, good move from Aaron, and he's taken back that lead that was once his for a very, very brief moment in time.
Yeah, another penalty for Mulder meanwhile while that was going on. Errol Antmaz has got past Mike, and he appears to be making the medium tyre, I need to get that right, the medium tyre to work, unlike Mike and his teammate Danny. And he's moved up to 7, but he is some 6.6 seconds as Smasher runs very wide through the north corner and picks up a penalty for his troubles. So yeah, can Antmaz go about closing the gap to the top 6? That remains to be seen. And yeah, BR Hamilton was also having a look on Bromson earlier in the lap as he's all over the curb on the exit of turn 1. So none of the top 5 have won a race so far this season. Surely it can't be 8 different winners from 9 as Hamilton is very late on the brakes into turn number 3.
That was an attack from between the Racing Point and the Renault.
Yeah. Oh, was there contact?
Yeah, there was. I was on board with the Renault behind.
Through.
Or a dive bomb on what he was previously to dive a bomber, as Giappalli picked up these things like in P13. I think he did pit though, if I'm wrong.
Yeah. 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th have all made a pit stop already, yeah.
So LCR Mulder making moves where most people wouldn't think there is one, but he's making it stick nice and fair from what I saw. I didn't see the start of the overtake, my fault on that part, but yeah, the top six, apart from maybe second and third, is Smash is starting to come under pressure now from the Toro Rosso of Wamson. I think he's Dutch reserve is really making a name for himself. Is what his first appearance, as I've completely jinxed it. The commentator's curse not waiting to come into factor there, as he's had a massive moment, as he did the lap before and turn one. He's managed to save it. It was a mega save. I'll give him that, but he's going to have to make up another 3 places. He wants another go at the racing point in the Alfa Romeo he was before.
Yes, incredible save. It's quite easy to drop it on the exit of that corner, and he's done well to not go in the wall like we saw Hayden do in qualifying, but he has lost 4 places? No, 3 places.
Yeah. He was third, 4, now 6, so 3 places.
For that move, but I think he'll happily take losing 3 places as over having no front wing. But I think it's starting to get to the phase where the mediums are quicker. Ansmers has closed quite a lot on this group. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple of the front runners heading into the pits sometime soon. Meanwhile, whilst all that was going on, Dazzler in the lead picked up his first penalty of the race, so Smash has kept it clean. So, oh no, he hasn't. Smash also has a penalty. Never mind, forget what I just said. Pigeon Munch is very wide through turn
very deep. That's going to
almost should have the move.
The Toro Rosso in the place at this point. He's got a horrible exit coming out of turn 1. He's going to have to try and stick it around the outside of the Renault. The Renault, as we've seen before, is very confident on the brakes though, and he pushes him onto the curb. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc style, they've both got DRS. I think the Renault's got the slipstream of his teammate in front. That is not going to help the Dutchman out at all, as he does slot in behind him on this occasion. I think both of them go a bit deep. That shouldn't cost anything to either car, as there's yellows in sector 2. I'll scroll through, see if I could find out what that was, or was that just one yellow
Hayden,
the game decided to
possibly.
throw out?
I know. It's Jamie, I think. He's gone deep into turn 4 as well, and has dropped back quite a lot from Danny as Jork now gets past the Ferrari of
the Red Bull going into the pits. With Alfa Romeo's going to have to watch out for him, as he does follow him in though.
Yeah, and Mulder comes in as well, and Pigeon Munch. So yeah, I said it last lap that pit stop should be coming soon, and this appears to be the lap of choice. Bromson picked up a penalty as well whilst that was going on. What tyres are they going to go on as Crutchley retires?
The Toro Rosso is actually come out ahead of the Alfa Romeo, so that is a headache for Smash F1. LCR Mulder has got out ahead of him, which is I think probably a result of the Red Bull holding him up and the Toro Rosso being able to capitalise. Yeah,
so Smash are getting jumped in the pits by Mulder, who's probably faster anyway, but has a couple of penalties hanging over him. But Mulder needs to make light work of the Red Bull as well if he wants to have a chance of winning this race. But we also need to consider they've got the traffic of the McLaren of Hayden, who's on the medium, so he won't be pitting anytime soon. And I know Hayden likes a race, so he might choose to fight these guys depending on if he's feeling up to messing with the leaders race. There's the other 2 soft runners, BR Hamilton and Bromson, pit, but we'll have to see how the undercut plays out and whether those guys lose out in comparison to the guys who pit on the lap before, which will leave Ansmers to take over the lead of the race, obviously after his podium last week. Mike in second and Danny in third, as Hamilton goes for the halves, whereas Bromson goes for
Hayden's not fighting a Red Bull of Aaron Dazzler as he goes up the inside into turn 1. That is a simple but effective move from the Red Bull. And I would have thought, if I was Hayden, I'd put up a bit of a fight, but not too much, because don't remember, he's still got to pit. He's letting the Toro Rosso pass of LCR Mulder, who's just gone down the inside, or tried to go down the inside of Aaron Dazzler. He's held it around the outside very effectively and got a mega exit. I don't think he'll be able to have another go into turn 4, not even in the slightest. That was a great attacking move from Mulder, almost got 2-in-1 overtake there, but it was also great defending with Dazzler. He probably saw that at the last minute, went and hung it around the outside, as you like to see.
Hayden's now defending the Alfa Romeo, who's going to go for the cutback through what is turn 6, I believe. but no, Hayden holds on to the position for now, and Smasher could end up dropping out of Mulder's DRS, which will be very crucial for his race with, as you mentioned at the start of the stream, how powerful the DRS is around this track with the 3 zones. And Smasher gets a much better exit off the final corner than the McLaren ahead of him, and Hayden is just sticking to the racing line. He probably will give up the position into turn 1. Smasher much more aggressive on the brakes, but has the damage been done as Danny gets past his teammate meanwhile for second? That might probably didn't fight that too hard as Hamilton now also gets past Hayden on the hard. It's all kicking off here, and we'll have to see if Mr. Pigeon Munch can also get past the McLaren. Indeed he can. It's all backing up. All backing up for turn 3.
Alfa Romeo and the Racing Point. The Racing Point actually threatening the Alfa Romeo to P6 at the moment. This will probably later become P3 as some guys in front haven't pitted yet. But there is a difference in tyre. The hard tyre is really standing up against the medium. The medium tyre doesn't seem to be the optimum race tyre at the moment because it was quite noticeably slower than the softs. But there is a lot of contact there.
How the Alfa Romeo is coming for the cut back again.
Now through turn 8, he's going to have to try and go around turn 9 if he wants to position back off the Racing Point. I don't think it's going to happen. The Racing Point swoops into turn 9, and that was a mega bit of battling between 2 different cars, 2 different drivers, 2 different tyres, but at the end of the day, racing for the same position.
Yeah, incredible. But look at the amount of time. The gap between Hamilton and Mulder is now 3.5 seconds as Bromson and Pigeon Munch are now also involved in this. But I have no idea how.
Go for it. He looks at it, but he doesn't. He decides not to walk through the door. Just yes, anyway.
He's going to get the cut back in the Racing Point. Smart driving from Hamilton there. He should get the better exit as Jamie retires from the race. Danny takes the lead meanwhile away from Ansmaz. Hamilton with the DRS up the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and Smasher coming for the cutback once again. The battle continues on. Smasher has the better drive. Can he hang it around the outside of turn number 6? Side by side once again. Will it be the same as last lap? No, Smasher has got it done this time, I think. And the incredible battle between the two. Unbelievable move from the Alfa Romeo there, who moves up into what is P6, and after being very sideways last lap, he's finally got the move done, and he'll hope to break away from the hard tyre short Racing Point and leave him to battle with Mr. Pigeon Munch and Bromson behind.
Yeah, the Racing Point has hard tyres, but how tight? He's had a similar pace in the medium tyre in London. He's been going a bit wide, so maybe the front grip isn't up to scratch. Maybe that's a bit too much maintenance. The Renault is looking down the inside of the Racing Point. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. And the Alfa Romeo brakes very, very early, and the Renault's gone for a half spin. He really overestimated his brakes and straight into the rear tyre of the Alfa Romeo. He's now instead of gaining position, he's lost the position to the Dutchman LCR Bromson, who is having a decent race. He had a bit of a moment early on through turn 1. This was my awful context there, and terribly sorry for that. But yeah, just going to go back up to the battle between LCR Mulder and Aaron Dazzler. These two are very close together, but the battle's been quite stagnant over the past couple of laps.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think Mulder's won a race.
They have identical battery
this season. I don't think either of these two have won a race as Mulder does now set the fastest lap. Yellow flag in sector 3. We'll come back to that later. Mulder had a look into turn 2 on the last lap, but didn't commit to it. It was Joao Paulo, the yellow flag. I don't know what he's done, but he's closer this time with the DRS and the high deployment ERS. He makes the move on the Red Bull into turn number 3. Will Dazzler go for the cutback? No, he's prepared to let the Toro Rosso go. As Bromson gets past the Racing Point further down the order. But yeah, that's an interesting one from Dazzler. Maybe he knows Mulder has more penalties than him and reckons he can stick with the Toro Rosso. But yeah, I would have thought Dazzler would have gone for the cutback there, but he seems to be happy to sit behind, maybe conserve his battery for a bit and try and wear Mulder's down and go back for the attack again later in the race. Or maybe these two are working together because they know that once Danny, Ansmaz and Mike put on the soft tyres at the end of the race, they're going to be rapid. So maybe they want to try and get as big a gap as they can whilst Danny, Ansmaz and Mike at the tyre disadvantages. Dazzler's already dropped back quite a bit. The gap down to 0.6, up to 0.6 rather, in just the 2 sectors. So he's going to have to get on it if he wants to stick with Mulder, who has supreme pace this afternoon. I'm just going to check if Mulder's won a race yet this season. I don't think he has.
Yeah, I think even if he does have 6/10, Mulder breaks extremely early, and that 6/10 of the gap was absolutely demolished by the Red Bull within the space of a couple of seconds. He's got DRS again, but Mulder with the superior V3 exit, and the Red Bull seems to have a superior entry into corners. Doesn't seem to be able to make a move as of yet, but he's still very close. So I think it would be quite stupid to think that these guys are going to stay where they are for the rest of the race in terms of where these two are in relation to each other. Obviously they're going to move up first and second again, because they are only 6 seconds behind third place, and third place is only a second behind first place. So looks like he takes a bit of grass there going through turns 7 and 8. He's going to have to watch himself with that one and try not to do that again, as he saw his teammate have a bit of almost game to breathe with that earlier and lost 3 positions as a result of having a big squirm on the exit of turn 1. He's got DRS again, nowhere near a move at this point, unless he wants to be a complete Danny Kvyat and do a torpedo move. He's getting a lot of understeer through turn 1. That's not going to help his position at all, as BR Hamilton, even on the hard tyres, really sticking with Bromson. As I say that, another the commentator's curse through turn 1. He gets a 3-second time penalty, extended a bit too much through the exit. But
that's
again,
his third of the race. So
yeah,
he's
Smasher not really pulling away from these two either.
Yeah, Hamilton really fallen foul of the penalties, and that will drop him behind Pigeon Munch as well. But Mulder and Dazzler do have quite a big pace advantage at the moment over the top 3. So they're closing that gap as they can, as Mike looks like he's coming in here on lap number 21. So he's going to take the sort of 15 laps to the end. That sounds pretty doable. Fresh softs. I'm sure he'll manage that just fine, and obviously Mike going for the earlier stop because he used those mediums in qualifying. We'll have to see where he feeds out in relation to Pigeon Munch. I think he's going to be quite far behind. Hayden also comes into the pit, so I think Mike's going to be in the big gap between Pigeon Munch and João Paulo, and he's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to get on the podium. But he has the tyres to do it, and I'm sure he has the ability to do it as well. But down in 5 seconds behind Mr. Pigeon Munch. It's all to do for Mike and Danny and Antsmaz when they two come into the pits. It's going to be a cracking last stint to this race if their pace is anything like the pace of the soft guys was in the first stint. So we'll have to keep an eye on the times for those guys, but I think we'll go back to the battle for 5th behind Smasher for the moment.
Yeah, Mike Marshmallow is actually only around 11-ish seconds off of LCR Mulder. Yeah, about only 13 seconds, but that is not a big gap for what the tyre difference is going to be by the end. I mean, old mediums compared to fresh softs, that's going to close very quickly. And Daniel is the fastest lap of the race with DRS from LCR Mulder. So he's quite the exercise to have a go here. But again, Mulder just seems to get amazing exits. This is all the important places when it's going to be turn 10, turn 1, turn 3. And the Red Bull doesn't really have a chance.
Has the undercut worked for Mike? Yes, he's ahead of Antsmaz. So Mercedes up to 7th and 8th there, as Antsmaz does have the DRS on the Mercedes, but I don't think there's much he can do with it. And no, so Mike's managed to get the undercut on the racing point there, and him and Danny, I'm sure, and Antsmaz as well, they'll probably all work together to try and close this gap as Danny finds himself 12 seconds off the lead here with 13 laps to go. It's a big ask, but I'm sure Danny knows he can do it, and it's just how quickly he can get through the traffic, the first of which will be Mr. Pigeon Munch in the Renault, who's dropped off the back of the battle a bit. I wonder if he picked up damage when he had that half spin at turn 3 off the back of the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Toro Rosso goes very wide again. Everyone now and again, I've noticed this, especially around this track with these elongated corners, they just seem to get wads of understeer every now and again, even for a couple of corners, and then it'll just seem to disappear again, and they'll be absolutely fine, they'll gain back up to the car in front. I'm not sure if that's a dirty air effect or just the tyres overheating a bit, but they're really going to have to be on their toes trying to avoid these bizarre moments of understeer, and particularly around this track where there's gravel tracks, pretty much on the other side of the curve. So that's going to be very important to monitor and watch, particularly by the end of the stint as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably because due to the high-speed nature of this track, in terms of the long straights, they're probably running pretty low front wing, so they're not going to necessarily get the turn into the corners that they would desire, but that's something they have to sacrifice, otherwise you just get monstered on the straights every lap. So as Pelzeri's had a spin, and Jork moves himself up into a solitary points position. So at the moment he'd only lose 5 points to Danny, but as Danny is now on the back of the Renault of the Pigeon Munch, Mr. Pigeon Munch, I think the number of points that Jork's going to lose is going to start to increase very rapidly as Danny, Mike and Ansmas make their way through the field. Victim number 1, just mentioned, is Pigeon Munch. He goes to the racing line. He's not really looking to fight it, I don't think. Although he goes late on the brakes, but he's not going to be able to hold it around the outside. And Mike will also look to make light work of the Renault, who has picked up DRS off Danny, which I'm sure will annoy Mike, because I don't think he's going to be close enough to make the move, and indeed he isn't. So Mike's going to have to sit behind for
quite deep though.
Up to half a lap. I don't think he's going to go close.
So yeah, I don't think he's going to go from. Is he? No, he's not. He's going to. I thought he was going to move into the fast left-hand turn 6. Going into 7 now, yeah, turn 6. But yeah, that Mercedes of Danny looks very close, very fast to the car. Right, I was getting closer to the car in front, I should say. But on the straight, I did notice you can actually see that podium position already, even if it is a few hundred metres in front. And LCF1 and Smash of F1 are actually battling at the same time, so that's really not going to help their races. Probably they're fighting for podium position at the moment, but they might not be given 5 or 6 laps. As I think he's about to go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo goes to the inside line, defensive line, and he doesn't manage to get the switch back, as he did go and sort of forced Toro Rosso to take the curb, and didn't really give him that much of a chance to attack. But he's going to attack now. He's going to go up the inside, as we've seen him do plenty of times before. Locked up his right front slightly, but that is a solid move from the Toro Rosso. But Smash F1 is going to try and go back around the outside of the Toro Rosso, and he actually does it. So that is a brilliant move from the Alfa yet again. We saw him do some outside moves earlier on in the race, but he's got a very, very grippy front end on that Alfa.
Yeah, he has, and Mike and Ansmas have managed to get past Pigeon Munches. Now Danny's on the back of PR Hamilton. He's going to have a look into turn 9. This would be very aggressive. He's going to, I think, have to... No, he's still holding it on the inside now into the final corner. Hamilton runs exceptionally wide out there, and Danny will easily have the position with the DRS there, but that's unneeded tenths that Danny has lost there. But what you have to consider is he doesn't have any penalties. Mulder has 2 and Dazzler has 1, so he only needs to get within 3 seconds of Dazzler, 6 seconds of Mulder to win this race, as Bromson and Smasher continue to battle. As Mike's unable to do anything, and Smash also unable to do anything for the moment, but all this some lag going on there. Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, this is quality stuff, Lee Mather. But I'm not too
and he gets
sure
the move
what
done.
There. Somehow.
Were they on top of each other on your
happened.
screen as well?
Yeah, I was on board with Mike the whole time. I wasn't sure that's what that looked like on his screen. But yeah, that is not what you want to see. Particularly when you're racing side by side as close as that. But Danny has managed to, in that cluster F, he managed to get away another second from his teammate, and he's going to start trying to catch up to the battle for third place. And I would have thought, the amount these two are battling, he's going to catch up very quickly, maybe give it 2 laps.
Smasher picks up a penalty, that's his second. Bromson picked his second up just a couple of corners before, so they'll be well behind this group of Danny, Mike and Ansmas. I think have 0 penalties
Dazzler, by the way,
them.
he's looking to the inside of LCR Mulder. He's very close on his case. They both lock up their right fronts. These weekends are looking less than healthy at this point. Are some of these going to get to the end? They did hit on, what was it, lap 16?
I think, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a stretch for the mediums, because there's 8 laps left, so they're going to have to do 22 laps. I think they'll be fine. I think Danny did 22 laps in Antmaz at the start of the race, so yeah, they should be okay, especially with the lower fuel loads and whatnot. But Dazzler's maybe thinking that he needs to get a move on with this in terms of getting the lead, because Mike and Danny and Antmaz are all on the way through the field, but there's quite a healthy gap from the top two down to Bromson in third. So when Danny does eventually get past, as he cuts turn one, he probably got away with that pretty minor cut. He'll have to get the charge on, hammer time, whatever you want to call it. But his tyres will be definitely suboptimal by that point, because there's going to be another lap at least before he
Squirm from Bromson.
Gets the move done on these two. Smasher should have the run now on the Toro Rosso. Coming down into his turn 4, he'll take the outside line. Bromson defends the inside, squeezing each other to enter the track, and Bromson just squeezes Smasher to the exit curve and maintains the position for the time being. But Smasher's not messing around here, up the inside into turn 6. There's going to be contact there, and he's going to spin out of the corner. He's managed to. Oh, that's.
I think he was ghosted. That's fine.
Yeah. But
yeah,
Smasher's
so
brilliant
very
races.
bad news.
Yeah,
very bad news, especially F1. I think that's a bit too much of an ambitious move up into the inside of turn 6.
Danny's
I think
disconnected. He's down to 6th.
Everyone's on. Left the second on my screen. He's not disconnected.
I think maybe at the screen freeze would be my guess. Because now he's at the back of the train.
Just had the have you got the engine sound glitch?
No, I've still got engine sound for all the cars.
I've got the engine sound glitch just for Danny though, so I think he might have well had a screen freeze. So this car's less than optimum.
He had the red X against him for a second.
Yeah, so that was probably a screen
he's back
freeze.
now, but he's lost 2 places in the process, and it's going to really hinder his chances of winning this race, as Mike's now some 13 seconds off the lead with only 6 laps to go. And I think Dazzler, if he doesn't pick up another penalty, is looking in very, very good position to win this race. But if he picks up a penalty, then him and Mould are equal, and it's all to play for. But a shame for Smasher. He was having an excellent race, and I think it was just one opportunistic move too far. He provided us great entertainment with the battle with Hamilton and then with Bromson, but he's down in 9th. He'll probably finish there because Jork's miles behind in 10th. As Dazzler has now actually taken the lead, as Ansman's picked up a penalty side by side on the exit. Mulder will have DRS, and I think the Toro Rosso will just about hold on to the lead, but Dazzler, he knows that he can win it on penalties, but I think he wants to win it on track, as Danny has now got past Ansmaz. Ansmaz maybe just giving up that position there, with now just under 6 laps to go here of the Austrian Grand Prix. Who's going to win? Who's going to snatch the podium, Danny or Mike? So I think the win is now definitely out of the question for the Mercedes boys, as Mr. Fisher Munch is going side by side with BR Hamilton further down the order. It's non-stop action here as they go side by side through the kink of turn 5 and down towards turn 6. Can these two navigate their way through here without crashing? Still side by side. Fisher Munch should have the upper hand with the inside line for turn 7, but no, Hamilton's not giving up, hanging it right round the outside as they now head still side by side down towards turn 9. Will one of them give? I think Fisher Munch has to, and BR Hamilton manages to defend his position here as the action continues yet again on to lap number 32, as Dazzler's now going for the lead once again into turn number 3. And it's going to be a repeat of the last lap.
Yeah, DRS for the Toro Rosso. I think he's going to be able to pull ahead just once again, unless the Rebel can hold it around the outside. Again, medium looking relatively fried at the moment, I think, is probably the correct term, as I don't think no moves of the Smasher F1 region into here. I think it's Mr. BR Hamilton and Mr. Pigeon Munch have had an incident.
We've stuck together.
You like to see it, Lee.
Very weird one, that one. Yeah, I don't know, as Mr. Pigeon Munch appears to have given up. He lets Hayden and Jork through, as Hayden's up into 9th on the course to pick up his first points of the season. Whilst that was all happening, Danny and Mike swapped, as Danny's now on the charge to try and pick up a podium here, which he will do anyway because Bromson has 6 seconds of penalties. as Daz is now making the move once again on Mulder. Will he be able to get it done this time? He's further ahead than on the previous 2 laps, but I think he's gone too deep into turn number 3. He'll have the better exit with the outside line, but Mulder will have the DRS as they head down the 3rd DRS straight down towards turn number 4. Mulder pulls alongside, and with the inside line, I wouldn't bet against him taking the position here. There's slight wheel-to-wheel contact, and Dazzler actually does hold it around the outside, making me look like a fool here. And Dazzler takes the lead once again here with just 3.5 laps to go, as Mr. Pigeon Munch is in the pits, and there will be no points for him today, which is also unfortunate because he provided a good show as well.
Yeah, and Dazzler having slightly healthier battery than Toro Rosso, but Toro Rosso seems to have a lot more grip at the moment. As I say that though, the Red Bull goes straight around the outside of Toro Rosso and regains the lead of this race, but Aaron Dazzler just needs to watch his penalties. I think he's priority number 1 at the moment as Toro Rosso has DRS. But the Red Bull throughout the whole race, we saw the battle he had with Smasher F1 earlier. That Red Bull has got very good straight line speed. It's probably why he's able to have so many dives on the Toro Rosso in the recent laps. And Dazzler defends the inside line as the Toro Rosso needs to decide which way he's going to go. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to get forced onto the curb by the Red Bull. No, he's not. He's done a clean move straight down the outside. He also gets DRS. Red Bull's not going to be able to fight that anytime soon. The Danny M7 is also catching up to the back of the Toro Rosso of ILR2. So this is going to be 2 very tight battles. One Toro Rosso receiving, both Toro Rossos receiving pressure at the moment.
Yeah, the soft tyres have been very disappointing, I think, for the Mercedes and Ansel. They've not had a huge pace advantage, and I think that pace advantage is starting to fall off now as Danny's not catching Bromston massively quickly. He'll know he doesn't need to get the move done, but Danny will want the satisfaction of finishing 3rd on track, and with only 2 laps to go now, I'm sure he'll go for it if he gets the opportunity, if his tyres will permit him to. As Mulder starts the penultimate lap in the lead, will Dazzler be wanting to go for it once again? He has a slightly healthier battery, as you mentioned, but his exit from turn 1 isn't great. He turns the ERS up to overtake. He's 2.5 tenths back with the slipstream now. Mulder goes defensive to the inside, Dazzler to the outside. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Will he go for the cutback? Yes, he does. Can he get the better traction with the cutback? It's pretty good. He'll have the DRS this time, not Mulder. And will he be able to do what Mulder couldn't a couple of laps ago and hold it up the inside of turn at number 4? And he doesn't need to, just pulls in front of him as there's a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Mr. Pigeon Munch is almost a lap down, and Dazzler takes the lead, but Mulder's not giving up yet. He has a look, but nothing doing there. And Dazzler holds on to the lead for the time being as Mulder's getting very ragged on the exit of turn number 6. Both these drivers giving it everything rather, as we enter the final stage of the race. Hayden moves up into P8 meanwhile.
Yeah, that is really, really good thinking from Dazzler. He wasn't able to make the switchback appear on any of the previous laps. He tried it, but that lap, it was probably one of the cleanest I've ever seen. He got a mega exit coming out of turn 3, and he's managed to capitalise on that. But now it's roles reversed as LCR Mulder has now got the DRS, and he's able to clean around the outside of the Red Bull, beforehand. He's going to try it again on the last lap. Is he going to go right around the outside? No, he's gone too deep, and I think that's going to probably give Aaron Dazzler the win now. And
he gets another penalty.
3-second time penalty. So I'm pretty sure, unless Aaron Dazzler makes an unbelievable mistake, he's just going to be careful through the last sector and a half with a big front right lock-up. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but just be careful. But you're right.
Danny's going to have a look at Bromston.
Tries to look for the inside line, but it's not there. I switched back to that just at the right moment. Bromston gets a bit of a slide on, goes straight into the side of the Mercedes with a tap. But I think that's going to be it, or no more threat from the Mercedes for the rest of this race. I think Bromston is going to see the position anyway, just due to the amount of penalties. But Aaron Dazzler navigating the final couple of corners through turn 10, right to the curb. No more threat from anyone. He's going to win the Austrian Grand Prix for Red Bull. And Dave's going to be very happy with that, Red Bull winning at their home Grand Prix. LCR Mulder comes home in second, and LCR Bromston is going to finish in 3rd on track. But I think by the end that is going to be Danny's P3, Mike Marshmallow's P4, and Smaz P5. He's gone down to P6. That's not what he wanted to see. The Smasher F1 after that spin is going to come home in P7.
Yeah, it'll be Jork P8 and Hayden P9. They swapped on the last lap. But yeah, another entertaining race action all throughout the field, overtakes galore, and in the end it's Aaron Dazzler in the Red Bull who makes it 8 different winners from the first 9 races. Jork 8th, Hayden 9th, and it will be BR Hamilton rounding out the points because Pelzeri is too far behind and Pigeon Munch is even further back. But yeah, what a cracker! Who would you give your driver of the day to for that one?
Probably because he held his nerve so well. Aaron Dazzler. He didn't get the best start, but he managed to overcome that and fight his way back past both Smash at F1 and LCR Molder in the tour also. So, driver of the day for me, Aaron Dazzler.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd be inclined to agree with you on that one. An excellent drive from the Red Bull man to pick up his first win, definitely, and I think his first podium of the season as well. He'll be very happy with that one. Mulder, the win still eludes him this season, but another cracking race from him today. I'm sure it will come. And Danny back on the podium after his absence last week. He won't take the championship lead just yet, but he'll go a good way to closing that gap to Jork at the top.
Yeah, that was a brilliant race. Do you want to go through the order as I normally do it?
Yeah,
change things up a bit.
I'll give it a go. So, as we mentioned, it's Aaron Dazzler who takes his first win of the season here around Austria, closely followed home by LCR Mulder, with Danny rounding out the podium as we just went through. It's a pretty good drive from Mike Marshmallow for fourth there. Maybe he'll be disappointed not to be on the podium this week. Ansma's up 6 places from 11th to 5th, with Bromston dropping down to 6th on penalties. Could have been more for Smash F1, but he had a spin, which means he finishes 7th. 8th and 9th for the McLaren boys, with Hayden picking up his first points of the season and BR Hamilton rounding out the points. Pelzeri and Pigeon Munch were the final finishers, with João Paulo, Jamie, Crutchley, Midsley and John MH all failing to finish. And yeah, another cracker. That's 4 in a row, I'd say now. And Aaron Dazzler takes home the credits, and we'll get him in the party along with Mulder and Danny, and we'll have a chat with those guys, see how they feel their race went.
Okay, I'll just go through recent players real quick. I guess I'll invite them because I'm already doing it. You good doing the interviews?
Yeah, sure. Mulder won't speak.
I'm relatively useless at that sort of thing.
Where's Danny? He's left the session, particularly unhelpfully.
Danny invites to a party. There you go. Aaron Dazzler's in. And
congrats, Aaron.
Also on LCR Mulder.
Yeah, I've invited Mulder as well. Hopefully he'll join. He'll put a little paragraph in the party chat.
Oh, does he not have a mic then?
No, he doesn't, but he'll put a paragraph in and we can read it out at the end if he joins. Well done, guys.
Yeah, well done, guys. That was an intense race. I'll give you that. I mean, I know I was sat in a comm box, but... anyone
should we
else to wait for?
Start without
Yeah,
Mulder?
well.
Alright, remember to include your audio, guys, and we'll get started with Aaron Dazzler, the winner today in a cracking battle for the lead. What was going through your mind the last few laps battling with Mulder? Were you happy? Or you obviously weren't happy to sit behind, but did the fact that he had an extra penalty to you play a part at all in the battle, or were you just going for the win on track regardless?
Yeah, I knew he had a penalty, so it was like controlled battling, I'd say. I knew as long as I didn't get any more warnings, I was going to win, but I got quite a lot of warnings on the first few laps because my wheel decided it wasn't going to downshift at turn 1 a few times, so I was 1 warning away from a second penalty pretty much for the whole race. So I was pretty careful behind Mulder, but I knew I could just keep up. Slipstream's pretty OP, so yeah. And then last few laps, pretty good battle. Just made sure I didn't run off track or do anything crazy because I knew I was going to win. But yeah, it was a really good battle with Mulder.
Yeah, so this is your first win of the season. I believe it's your first podium of the season as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. You picked up a couple at the end of last season. Are you happy to be back on form? And do you think you can make this a regular thing after I hope you won't mind me saying, not the best start to the season for you.
Oh yeah, it's been a disastrous start. I'd say it's probably probably clean race from first race where I got a quali lap in at the end, which helped. But yeah, it's not been the cleanest of starts, so I've not really been able to show pace. But yeah, it was decent today. Managed to get the win. I'm not really sure what the championship looks like, but yeah, hopefully it gets better from here.
Alright, well, congrats once again, and that's our winner
Cheers.
today. And Mulder will put his little paragraph in, so we'll move on to Danny in third place. Maybe expecting more today. We'll start with qualifying, because you were one of the few people not to go for the dries at the end. What made you go for the inters and not make the call to put on the softs or the mediums at the end of the session?
I think I was just very unlucky. I think I left the pits with the inters on, and then 30 seconds later Mike said he was about to leave the pits, and Jeff said you're on the wrong tyre, so that switched them to dries. And I thought I probably had time to come into the pits, but even when I was out there it was a bit wet. I thought maybe if I could just get this last one in, but it wasn't to be, so I don't know, I got a little bit unlucky with how the timing of the how it went to dry. It was literally, if I'd have sat in the garage another 30 seconds I would have went out there on the slicks, but it is what it is. It was just unfortunate.
Yeah, and on to the race. You had a pretty slow start, even dropping down some positions on the first lap, but you brought it back at the end. Just talk us through that a bit. And also I think you had a screen freeze, or maybe like lap 30 or something. Talk us through all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I knew if I'd have kept out of any trouble, I had the pace to. I thought I could have had the pace to fight back up to the front and challenge for the win. But something happened at turn 3 at the top of the hill, and I went completely off the track to avoid it. I don't know what, there was a Ferrari on the inside, bounced across the grass, and it just took a few out. And I don't know what happened there. And then later on in the lap, Joe got taken out, and I went completely the wrong side of him, and I just ended up dropping to last. So in France, when I had issues, I didn't keep my head. I kind of lost my head, and then didn't really recover. So I kept my head down, and for some reason just had a lot of pace, and was just focusing on the getting prepared for the soft stint at the end, which was a lot of fun. But myself, Mike, and Antmaz worked very well together. I think cutting through that traffic, and they were very kind when they didn't pull over as such when I had the screen freeze, because they said, look, if you get a run, you're not going to fight it because it's a little bit unfair. So thanks to them. And Mike did. I think he let me go earlier in the race. I had a bit more pace, but I was dragging them along, and just trying to get no penalties. And yeah, the battle at the end with Bumson. If he didn't have if I knew he had a penalty, but I would have fought that a lot harder. When he pushed me wide at turn 4, I backed out. I thought, yeah, there's no point in fighting this because I'll just lose the podium to Mike. So overall, I come into this wanting to win, but with the circumstances, I'm very happy to come away with a podium and on to the next one.
Yeah, and on to the championship. I think the gap's maybe down to like 5 points or something between you and Jork after he didn't have such a good race today. Will you be looking to reclaim that lead next week at your home Grand Prix, or are you just looking to get consistent results and hope he slips up somewhere?
I think I'm going to, after the disaster last week, got to try and make my way back up to the top step. That's the only way. I think I was kind of lucky today when I seen I was starting 9th and my 2 championship rivals, Jock and Mike, were ahead of me. I know Mulder and Aaron were starting at the front, but yeah, we just got to keep an eye on Jock, and also we've obviously got to keep an eye on Mulder and Aaron now. So it's going to be interesting, but yeah, I've got to go for the win, haven't you?
Yeah. Okay. Well done on third, even if you maybe thought it could be better. We've got half of, I think, Mulder's
should I read it out?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so here we go. This is from Alciar Mollis. It's just a summary of the race, really. Quali didn't really go well. Start wasn't good either, and almost got killed by the Ferrari. That was Crutchley, wasn't it? He was the only Ferrari in the race. And then he got stuck with a little train in the first few laps, and then had a really weird incident with Midzi. and then went in the pits and then realised the pace was much better on the medium tyre anyway. So yeah, that's his race summary there. I guess that's top 3 drivers.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it for, once again, another cracking race here in Austria once again for ILR2. Congrats to Aaron once again. 8 winners from 9, and it'll be, oh no, we've got a second half of a statement from Maldred. Yeah, sure. And it says, if I didn't have a 6-second penalty at the start, I might have won. I had a good battle with Aaron, but couldn't get out of DRS. And it says, GG Aaron, great battle. Yeah, that'll be it for this week once again. I don't know who'll be here next week for the British Grand Prix. It won't be here. It might be Jack again. It might be Dom. It could be someone else. You'll have to wait and see. But that's been it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and someone will see you next week.